All right, we are live. Well, we're not live, but it's at the buzzer. I'm the captain of the ship, apparently. Mo Money Sports Network. With me, as always, is my co-pilot, the partner in crime. It's the bistro of basketball knowledge, V. And for the fourth week in a row, I'm about to ask this question: have you yet seen White Men Can't Jump?
I'll tell you what, they do not have it in the mine shafts that I've been working in, and it's pretty dark down there. We didn't have any access to the outside world, so as much as I would love to say yes, it's a hard day's night. What can I say?
Anyway, we're here to talk about our favorite thing in the entire world. Some hoops, man.
Did you see that game tonight?
I saw the game tonight. What were your thoughts on it, dude?
For the folks out there, we're talking OKC versus New York City at OKC. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander showing a resilience and toughness that should scare people. If anything should be the takeaway, it's if you bully this guy and push him around and he's not getting calls, he's learning not to slouch. He's learning to flex and get up a bit, and it's a good
Well,
look on
Michael
him.
had to learn that. Michael hit the gym harder. He came back. He was more physical, and he won 6 out of 8 titles. So.
And Scottie Pippen has arrived when he wants to. Jalen Williams there, man. There was a moment when he took a three where I felt like he had the lane,
Now
and
I'm
then
gonna say
it
this.
missed and it bounced out to him and he got it. And then he went down the middle and threw it down in the fourth there, right? That was the turning
So
point.
you
And
young ones, that would be Scottie Pippen Jr.
no. Oh, no, senior that I'm talking about.
You're talking about
On
Scottie Pippen Sr.?
yeah.
He
He's
threw a dunk down?
so Shea being MJ and then
Oh,
Jada.
yeah. Okay, I wasn't following you there. That's my bad.
Oh yeah, okay. So this is the parallel that I was watching, man. I was watching to me Scottie Pippen arrive in that sense of like the Robin that you need to ride into the dark night with. He was there. He was there. And that was like, whoa, with that dunk, he sort of really, I was like, damn, that got the crowd into it. That got everybody into it. And then they just steamrolled them for the rest of the fourth. I was like, and it was mostly his doing, slashing, bam, bam, bam. And it's okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the Spurs just knocked off the Denver Nuggets. So
Hold
where's the
on.
concernometer?
I got to ask you about the Knicks and the 40-minute starting lineup.
Okay.
They were all exhausted at the end, right? That was something that you noticed too.
Oh, for sure.
How
But
long
I'm
can
not
something go
surprised.
on where it doesn't work and you continue doing the same thing?
I'm not surprised because this is what Tibbs did in Chicago
But how many seasons can you do the same thing and not change it?
until they fire you. Because obviously he doesn't. He's not worried about it.
I think New
Because
York gets a coaching change this year.
because remember when he was in Chicago and he was up 20 with a minute and a half to go, Derrick Rose tore up his ankle and Tibbs lost the series. This is following Tibbs' MO. This is nothing new.
I
He doesn't
I I don't follow it.
he doesn't know how to coach any other way.
So yeah, watching tonight, it was kind of sad to just see them peter out, even though they had the edge. OKC's coming off a back to back, and they say, "Come on, no legs, Carl."
I'm
And they
not
kept it out of his
surprised
hands, and he only had 13 field goals. Jalen Brunson just can't quite share yet, and I think that's going to be an issue for the Knicks going forward. So I think Knicks revealed themselves to be a number 8 seed to me as like a where they'll finish all said and done after the playoffs.
I don't know. It depends if Tibbs can keep him healthy. And like I
Even
said, it's
even
not
healthy, they're beatable by just about anybody that has young
I'm
legs.
saying they might miss altogether if somebody goes down.
Oh, well, on that note, okay, let's spice it up. Let's leave that for now.
And I'm saying this not to be mean to Knicks fans. Trust me.
Yeah,
If anything, the
there's any
playoffs are
fan
better.
bases we don't need hate from, it's the Knicks fans hearing that
No,
you're saying
it's
they're not
not.
even going to make the playoffs. Oh,
It's
buddy, the Heat.
it's not even about hate. What it is it's more fun when the Knicks are in the playoffs.
No, I can barely watch it, but I get maybe that's the point, and maybe that's the theme of our whole podcast tonight. Is like the entertainment value is super high
No,
when it's
no.
the
The
Knicks.
reason I say it's more fun for the Knicks to be in the playoffs is not because of the Knicks themselves, but
It's the
because
Garden.
you get the entertainment value from Stephen A. You get the entertainment value from Spike Lee. Knicks
Mm-hmm.
fans go crazy when the Knicks are in the playoffs. I love it.
It becomes an event. Yeah.
It's not necessarily about the Knicks franchise, but the playoffs are more fun when you get to watch people freak out. And the Knicks, I know, look, they're not a great team. They're not going anywhere. They're probably going to be a first round out. And yeah, and Tibbs, you don't deserve to be coaching in this league. I said what I said.
Yeah, there's too many other good ones.
You're ruining careers.
And he's not even that entertaining.
You had an elite MVP and you're losing your hair.
We already got one, Popovich. Get him out of here. Big enough for both of them.
But no, the biggest, baddest thing about the Knicks is that it's not even the franchise is fun to watch. The team isn't fun to watch, but the franchise is.
Yeah, always getting themselves into hijinks like a bad Scooby-Doo villain.
And it would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling refs. No, but and the reason I say I want the Knicks in the playoffs is because of our topic tonight, because of the title of the podcast. It's just more entertaining when they're in. And the truth of it is, as much as I love the association, and I'm watching the Laker game with the sound down right now, but it's not an entertaining product. And hopefully, when it goes to NBC and Amazon, hopefully they can get it together. But it's not very entertaining. They're this close, probably, to scrapping the All-Star game because nobody wants to play in it.
Mm-hmm.
Their skills competition, I don't even watch All-Star Saturday night.
Yeah, it's got a dark energy when there's no purpose to it and it's just a money-grabbing festival. I don't like that energy at all.
And you brought up something that you wanted to talk about, and it was the WWE versus NBA and the way they handle their business. And I was surprised when I got a text message from you tonight saying the Miz was on NBA TV. I'm sorry I missed it.
NBA Today with Malika Andrews. Yeah.
And I love the Miz personally because he's entertaining as can be.
Boom, key thing right there. Yeah.
But here's the thing, and this was my comparison that I made it to you earlier. Why do we love Kenny, Shaq, and Charles? Because they understand what draws television is entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah, and they just stumbled on the formula there, I think, by having sort of three super secure guys and then one insecure with Kenny, and then just being able to roundhouse each other all the way around everything. They kind of have a nice complementary formula that just works entertainment-wise, like classic comedy formula-wise. They just got it. And it's unbeatable. Did you watch it this week with Charles with the glasses? And how far into the future can you see with those?
And they'll bring in like Keenan,
all kinds of things. They have so
And
much randomness
they'll
sometimes.
entertain us. And the one thing is, when the Miz comes on TV, because I'm an avid wrestling fan,
Yeah,
I'm there. I'm watching, dude.
big time. And what does
I'm
Shaq say
watching the Miz.
sometimes when he's on stage when they're doing the outdoor things? Are you not entertained?
And that's the whole thing, is like,
Right.
all due respect to Steph and Trey and everybody else,
But there's only
but
one
I don't
skip to
want
my Lou.
but I don't want to watch a 48-minute 3-point contest.
Because all their celebrations are pretty much just skipped versions of skip to my Lou, and three-pointers just don't carry that same weight.
And then people are like, why do we have the most blowouts in the NBA nowadays? It's because if you don't hit your threes, you just bury yourself if you go 1 for 19 from the 3-point line. Like OKC did that one night. And that's why I was like, they might need a Jimmy Butler, if for nothing else, to give them a stabilizing presence in the paint.
They needed this Jalen Williams. They needed this guy that's like a Scotty Barnes level strength of just like when he wants to, he can go. And it was good to see that they've got that. But how consistent can he do that? It's looking bright, but we'll see. I
But
think the
I'll go back
entertainment
to
though, yeah,
going
yeah.
back to the entertainment thing. Why do we remember Rasheed Wallace? Because he was in his antics. He was great.
He invented a catchphrase, right? The ball don't lie. Like, didn't he staple that and make
He
that and
stapled that.
like that's crazy. To the day everybody says it. That's entertainment to its finest right there. That's I'll be back worthy.
Yeah. So like the NBA is lacking its entertainment side of things. There
Hmm.
was a time when you'd look forward to All Star Weekend. When you
Big
had the
time.
race between Charles Barkley and Dick Bavetta, the referee, when they went around the court. You look forward to things like that. And then all of a sudden, you got gimmicky with the All Star game, and you had rookies versus sophomores. You had the world versus North America. You had
Did
like,
the mirrors just get too big? If you know what I mean? Like, did they just start taking themselves too seriously? Like losing their sense of humor. Like when LeBron said no to the dunk contest, it was out of fear of looking a fool. Are those the markers or indicators of how the culture was changing around? Like, oh, now guys don't are scared to make a mistake or scared to act a fool, so there's less chance taking. There's less
but
entertainment because they're
it's not
more.
just that though. Tom Brady said it best. Tom Brady said, "My friends were the guys in the locker room." How could you be friends with somebody and then try to go out and win a game for however long you're out there? He said that's not how it works. You got to have that instinct. You have to want to be that dude. And that's what carried Tom Brady. And you know what? I'm going to say it. I'm calling out the entire league. We don't have too many that dudes left in the NBA. We have a lot
Mhm.
of superstars that we enjoy watching. We have a lot of those, but we don't have that guy anymore that's like, that's the guy. That's the guy. We don't have that anymore.
Yeah, where you could just pull a non-sports watching person off the street and just go, here, sit down and watch this guy play. You'll see why this guy's the best to do it. And they'll know what immediately why. Like you don't really have that. It's not immediately apparent who's the most dominating guy night to night anymore. And there's
No,
no narrative to it. Like there's no arc to it, right? It's just been LeBron. Yeah.
and you know what else is missing from the entertainment side of the NBA? They've forgotten the rivalries, bro.
Hmm.
I had a phone call with a buddy of mine here on the res not so long ago, and I was talking to his kid, and I was talking about how the Lakers and Celtics and their storied rivalry. And the response I got really shook me to my core, because he said, "You're still on that?" As if it goes away.
Now,
But that goes to show you the mentality of this generation that's coming up and being like, you got to let that go. But
It's all
successful
about
leagues,
just individual image. Yeah.
are built on rivalries.
Hmm. Yeah. And things that are bigger than individuals. It's collectives going against collectives.
It's the Yankees and the Red Sox.
It's
It's the
cultural.
Bruins and the
Yeah.
Canadians.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a rivalry so deeply rooted that it goes through your blood, it goes through your veins. Every time you lose to that team, you're like, I can't believe we lost to those bums. You
Mhm.
know,
And
it
that's the WWE energy there, though, isn't it? When it's at its best, it's stirring that same blood feeling of like, oh, that moment or that
but
like
that's what makes the
asking as a
WWE
question.
great.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
what makes the WWE great is they never lose the theatrics of it.
yeah, it's the centerpiece. But yeah, I could see how it would just be so hard to keep that momentum up. Like I'm so curious how they do it because I'm complete outsider. I might as well be an alien in many ways to
No,
modern and
it it,
previous wrestling,
it
right?
goes through peaks and valleys. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but at its core, they're always trying to remember the theatrics of it. And
Yeah.
you know what? I'm going to go one step further. The league was built on rivalry. I know people are going to disagree with me and say, oh, you're an old head. The league has changed. And maybe it has, and maybe I should get it out of the way. But if you remember, these games were on tape delay at one point in the 70s. It wasn't until they started building the league around Bird and Magic that they got a better TV deal. The league is built on
Mhm.
these. Why are they getting away
Ex-
from it?
exactly. We had two powerhouse guys drafted in the same year, Luka Doncic and Trey Young, this far from picks of each other. Could have been the next rivalry to last decades. They, have they even played each other type of thing? There's no rivalries, nothing. It's they've coexist in different universes.
I remember
It's
that Bird
nothing.
versus Magic documentary, Courtship of Rivals. If you can find it, check it out. I highly recommend it. But they straight up said we'd schedule Larry Bird at 4 and we'd schedule Magic at 7.
Without Cain, Abel was just another shepherd. I heard that quote somewhere. You need the villain. It completes you, right? We need sometimes the dark side because it completes us, and how we look at the dark side's everything. I feel like wrestling does it really well in that they play with it as like an ongoing thing. The
Hulk
NBA's
Hogan,
too freaking
Andre,
it's like too
right?
clean. It's so everything is
Hulk
constructed
needs
and
Andre.
say again.
Hulk Hogan needed Andre the Giant.
Right?
You
That
know
there needs to be an equalizer, something that's the opposite force, and it's just like if everybody's on their own mission, NBA wise, just to see who gets the most money, we've lost the whole thing,
when
and
LeBron was at
entertainment
his
goes.
peak, when LeBron was at his peak, was in Miami because he wasn't afraid to play the villain.
Mhm.
And you were either okay, I'm Team Empire or I'm Team Resistance. Most of us were on Team Resistance, but
Exactly,
but
exactly.
you need a villain. It has to
Amen.
be.
And man, yeah, you're saying the Miz. I don't know anything about him, but he brought that just energy to the show that immediately. I was opposed at first just from the label, and then as soon as he hit, I was like, "No, this is what's needed." You know?
See, and that's the thing. That's the thing, and I'm going to choose my words very carefully because I'm going to say this. You know what makes Miz good at his job? He can take you, a self-professed alien, to the world of professional wrestling, at least modern day wrestling. I don't know what your background is, but at least for modern day wrestling, he can take an alien and go, if I was going to tune in on a Monday night, I'm tuning in for that guy.
Yeah, I'd like to see that guy smashing people up. Yeah, it's like
See, and that's does the NBA have those dudes anymore?
none, none.
Not a one. dude.
Let's have a moment of silence for that. Oof.
You know what? The Miz might win Dude of the Week just for being on NBA TV or NBA Today.
Dude, he brought more energy than Kendrick Perkins has in a year in one segment.
I'll tell you, not to ride the Miz too hard here, but one of my favorite things is when he's in the ring and the crowd's booing him. He always puts his hand up and he goes, "When my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut," and everybody just boos him even harder. It's awesome.
And remember Dylan Brooks stirring people up with the LeBron stuff. That was probably peak people tuning into that were not basketball fans is when the Lakers are involved and there's a villain. And for a moment there, for half a series, literally half a series, there was, but it was enough to get that guy his namesake out there. Dylan Brooks is a household name because of it, by playing the villain a couple times.
You know who else was good at that? Lance Stevenson. Remember him when he played for Indiana?
I know who you're talking about, but I don't really remember his career.
Yeah, he's the guy that blew in somebody's ear and everybody got pissed off. Yeah, that's Lance Stevenson.
That's some Sam Mitchell level fighting there.
but we need those guys. As much as I complain about them, we need those guys. We need a Rasheed Wallace. We need a Dylan Brooks. We need a LeBron James.
Let me ask you this. Is Luka a good villain?
No. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I'll tell you exactly why. The guy is too nice. The guy is a butter knife.
Staple it. Yeah. We should have a motion for it where it's like, clip this. And then you'll know from that.
No. You know who made a good villain? Kyrie. But when he straightened out, and I'm proud of him.
It was great to see, but it's not interesting anymore. Right?
It's not interesting anymore. It's
I think we're onto something here, buddy. I think we're onto something. Go on.
What's that? It's like Jaw. It's like, okay, this is why I love the WWE. Because somebody who starts out as a heel, right? Mm-hmm. The bad guy.
For the folks out there that don't know,
for the folks that don't understand, the guy who starts out as a heel, aka the bad guy, when he's put in so much work after like 10 years, you don't want to boo him anymore. He naturally becomes accepted by us because of the work he put in 10 years prior. Mm-hmm. See, and what's happening now is we don't even have time to get attached to the villains because they don't exist.
They disappear too quickly into the good night because they got paid, and they'll just, like Ben Simmons was a good one, but he just disappeared.
You know why we like Kawhi Leonard? Because he's a good villain, but he's gone so much that
he's not even a good villain.
And it's the same with what's his name now.
Embiid was the modern attempt, I think.
Embiid is the modern attempt, but here's the thing.
He's played 50% of his game. Sorry, go ahead.
The villain has to win first. Has to win first. And because Joel hasn't won, we're like, okay, he's just another dude. Mm-hmm. If Joel had won 2 NBA titles, we'd be like, okay, who's going to take that guy down? And we'd watch the entire league try to take down Joel Embiid. Because nobody.
Go ahead.
We need a Ric Flair. We need a guy that's so despised that every time he walks into the arena, he gets shunned. But he doesn't care because he's that limousine riding, jet flying, stealing, wheeling, dealing son of a gun.
What? Oh. It's like here's one that I think might be the closest one. Then, given your criteria, let me ask you this one. The line I had for you, though, was the Joker's a good villain, not because he robbed a corner store, because he robbed the fucking U.S. like bank treasury. It's like because he's a threat.
He's a threat.
He's a legitimate, scary ass threat.
Speaking of the Joker, you want to know why he's not the villain after winning an NBA title? Because we love him. Because we love him.
Yeah,
And I'm
he's
not.
a hero somehow. Yeah,
And you know what it is? Is he's not a prima donna. He goes in, he does the
he's
work,
he doesn't
and we just love
complain.
him.
Yeah, he's a
We,
good guy. Loves his
you know, who was
family.
a good? You know who was the best villain?
Who?
Pat Bev.
Shout out. First guest, Pat Bev, calling in from Shanghai or wherever he's playing now.
Yeah, we need you, Pat Bev. But the reason I say that is because he's the guy that when the Lakers were dog crap, came in and said, if I was on that team, we'd be in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Knowing full well
Man,
that we wouldn't be anywhere close if he was on the roster.
this is it. I think we're on to something. And I got two examples that I got to get your opinion on. Is Draymond Green?
Here's the thing, and here's my little
Spicy
mini
one. Yeah, go ahead.
here's my little mini confession. I like Draymond Green,
You heard it here first, folks.
but I also have a tough time finding a way to respect Draymond Green. And that's because not because of that, because he's a hockey player. You
We
know,
respect that out here.
you know what? I will even go as far as to say he's the kid on the playground that runs his mouth because he knows he's got his big brother in the schoolyard with him.
He knows that. Yeah, he's got he's got a secret weapon. It's not necessarily Big Brother because I think Steph is like a something. He's got a ninja in the trees that's gonna fall on him. It's like he knows he's got that sort of pre-planned level of danger for you on the other side. He's not alone, I guess, is what we're saying.
He's like that heel manager that stands on the outside of the ring, and then when nobody's looking, he kicks you in the gut and runs away.
Yeah, but it's not in your interest to try to fight fire when it's that spicy. He's not a bad one, man. He's not a bad one, I think, as far
No,
as
but
things go. Yeah.
no, but here's the thing now. He's not a threat. That's the problem
Currently,
now.
yeah. He's too it's like you're right. You're right. Maybe in a year or two ago, 3 years ago, he would have been a
5 years
good
ago, he was a great villain.
Yeah. But has he been the last true villain that was a legitimate scary threat on like a team that was a threat and a
I
true
think
villain on?
I think he might be. As a matter of fact, I will pose this to our audience. If you know of a villain that we're not talking about right now, please put him in the comment section below.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to hear from him, but I got to put Draymond at the top of that list. Unless you're going
Yeah.
to go for the low hanging fruit and say LeBron, which I'm not going to do that. That's too easy.
No, exactly. Yeah, no, I think Luka would have been a potential contender, but like we said, it's sort of a heel that you don't even have a big reaction to because it's sort of like
And you want to, and despite my co-host reservations, Luka's the kind of guy you want to root for because he's so nice to everybody.
I think he wants to be the hero. He wants to be a tough hero, but he wants to be the hero. He doesn't want to be the villain. He wants to be the guy bringing home the thing for everybody. Yeah,
he wants to be that guy.
carried off. He wants to be Rudy. He wants to be carried off the
He wants to
stage.
be Rudy. Great movie, by the way.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
And by the way, I'm just gonna say this about the Rudy movie because everybody's like, that didn't actually happen, right? And I'm like, I don't care. It was a great movie. It was entertaining. I don't care if it was factually accurate.
Yeah, does Rocky have to go through the fact check too for it to be good?
That's
Did Stallone box? No.
I know it's based on a true story, but don't take it too literally. Come on now.
Amen. Yeah, exactly. Stories are the whole thing, man, and the NBA, I think, gave up on supporting the stories outside of LeBron, and when they didn't have anything past, LeBron's son or his age, they're at a standstill here. I feel like
And you know
it's a
what?
whisper. Yeah.
I'll tell you why. You want to know why the NFL is the most popular sport in North America?
Hit me.
It's because they have storylines all over the place. They've got the Patrick Mahomes storyline. They've got the
Aaron
Cowboys.
Rodgers.
They've got the Cowboys storyline. Aaron
Mhm,
Rodgers is in the news every day.
mhm.
There's always something happening in the NFL that's not one player or one team specific. So it keeps everybody interested. It's not just
Man,
about one guy or one franchise.
if there's any NBA agents out there and marketers listening, this guy's spitting some wisdom because this is the hard truth that has been neglected for a while, and they're now in danger of spreading themselves pretty thin. I think because the numbers of the viewership, if nobody's watching, nobody's gambling on it, right? Like they do need
50,
some viewership.
53%? 53% was the number I heard that the ratings are down.
Boy, push that all the way down, and it's gone. Like there is no more betting. People will bet on something else because it's the betting. If you had to bet, which one's going to last longer, basketball or betting? I think it's the one that I'm doing right now. It's betting, right?
Yeah, and here's the thing. Like I said at the very top of the show, we do this podcast because we love this league. I have
Mhm.
League Pass. I've got TSN. I got Sportsnet. I've got I've got every means to watch every game that I could ever want to watch in this league ever. I'm not putting this league down because I want to. I'm putting this league in a perspective that I want to see a better product for us, the
Mhm.
fans.
See, that's the thing. How you would do the entertainment is also important because I think skimping out and just trying to do a immediate money grab novelty act things, like
No, they
that's not
tried.
served anybody well,
They
right?
tried
It
that. Look
actually
at
have
the
to
NBA Cup. Remember last year you said the
exactly.
NBA. Remember the last year you were like the NBA Cup's going to be a good thing because maybe they'll compete for it. It was year two, and you went as if it didn't matter.
Yeah. Just the rich got rich. Giannis said it best. The rich got richer. That's all.
And here's the thing: when was the Miz on NBA Today? Just out
That
of
was today.
curiosity.
I
That
think
was
that was
today.
today at the end of the yeah.
Okay, now Raw's going to Netflix, or no, WWE is going to Netflix because we're in Canada,
Mm.
and the Miz is on one of those shows. So if I called you up on Friday night and said, "Hey, get to Netflix, Miz is on the TV," even for a non-wrestling fan, because you saw how charismatic he was, you might be too in tune to go, you know what? I don't normally like this stuff, but I like him, so I'm gonna watch and see what happens.
And he wasn't afraid to make a fool of himself, but he wasn't acting a fool, if you know what I mean. He wasn't trying to put on a sideshow act, but he was going 100% commitment, which is a thin, but when you're good at what you do like he is, it's an amazing thing to witness. It was like watching somebody grab the TV and just supercharging it with energy compared to what was going on before. And it was like,
And you know
yeah,
what the problem
okay.
is? You hit the nail right on the head there, and it's
Not just cooking.
people want to be perfect all the time. That's what it is. People want to uphold their image. If you look
Mhm.
at the greats like Charles Barkley, like Michael Jordan, like Larry Bird, the last thing they were concerned about was their image. You know,
Exactly. They gave them all of themselves to it.
Michael would be like, "Yeah, I went to Atlantic City. What about it? I
Mhm.
was still able to play. I still played my game. I
Are you not entertained, right?
I
Like,
scored
that's the question.
I
Ooh,
I scored 55. I was in Atlantic City. I scored 55 and we won. Like, what more can you ask of me?
If you can answer that question or even be posing it, are you not entertained? The mission has been accomplished. But here's the question: Logan Paul syndrome. How far do you go before you've sacrificed the integrity of your sport? Because I would say boxing kind of jumped the shark a bit, you know.
No, I think that boxing's gonna be fine. I think the
Oh yeah,
Logan.
it'll be fun.
I think the Paul brothers are a disgrace.
But
But
they do the thing that we're talking about extremely well, which is entertain people through being a
no,
heel, right?
that's what I'm saying.
And
I
they're
think they're
good
a
at it.
disgrace.
See,
But
so that it's
whether
still
we,
working. It's that good. That's how good it is, right? It's so good.
but as there's a villain, the next fight that Jake Paul has on Netflix, I'm gonna be like, I want this guy to knock him out, right?
Thank you.
You have,
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, this for our audience, this is the whole thing. This is the jam that we're talking about, right?
and people are like, if you guys know the formula, why don't you guys argue on the podcast? I said we argue, but we're not gonna force an argument just to inflate numbers. That's ridiculous.
No, and a lot of it's well planned, well orchestrated stuff, right? Like it's not just luck that it happens. The WWE's been working on their art form for 50, 60, 75, whatever years. The NBA's been doing similar things, but they haven't tended to the garden that is that
The NBA's
exciting,
lost
well
its
built.
way.
Yeah, it's missing something there for me as somebody that's like easily influenced by narrative or not. Like they don't have them, right? So when you see something in the WWE that's like, oh wow, they have something working there. How far do you take that into the sport or media, and how would you do it? This is to you.
I got, I got, I got three examples
Hmm.
from the WWE realm, and then I'll take it back to basketball. On Monday Night Raw, the first Monday night on Netflix. Okay, I want you to know this. This is the debut episode. They've got CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, and
Okay.
CM Punk went and did the UFC for a while, and they've kind of built up the hatred between those two guys. They have something called a tribal combat match for.
Say that again.
They have a tribal combat match scheduled for Monday Night Raw. Okay. And then you have the John Cena retirement tour that is
Okay.
also happening. That he's going to do one more full year of wrestling, then he's going to retire.
Oh wow. Okay.
So they are stacking this card because it's the first one on Netflix. Oh, and if that's not enough, women, you want a slice of the pie? We're going to have our first ever women's Intercontinental Champion crowned on the Netflix debut.
Damn. 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 Okay, clip that shit because it got me fired up about something I don't know anything about.
Yes, but when you hear a tribal combat match, you're like, oh, damn. What's a
Like
tribal combat match?
something's going down.
And the NBA, God bless them, they don't do it.
Yeah. So what's one thing that you would do just as a crazy idea that you would introduce um, if you had Adam Silver's ear or a player's ear or something?
Okay, here's what I would do. I would go to the grassroots of it all and say no more AAU basketball. And the reason for that
Fascinating.
is, that's when all these stars get together and they start playing with each other as teenagers and they form bonds. Now, if I'm in Milwaukee and I'm playing Indiana, right? Or
Mhm.
if I'm the Knicks, if I'm Patrick Ewing and I got to play Reggie Miller, I despise Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller knocked me out last year. Reggie's going down this year, and we're
Hate
gonna
him, hate
battle it
his
out.
family, hate everything he stands for. Yeah.
And we're gonna have a 7-game series, and we're gonna settle it all. You know what happens now? Oh, that's my buddy on the other side of the court.
Yeah, and just gonna
After the
Instagram them quick. Yeah,
after the game, we're gonna go have a steak.
yeah, it's true. And you know everything about them and stuff. There's no mystery. It's not like, oh, I just hate that dude and whatever he is, just
Like
Jalen Rose.
this
Jalen
is
Rose was a great heel.
this is not just an NBA problem. This is a grassroots problem.
Mm. So if you took out AAU, what goes in its place? Just classic high school.
Just high school
Not
basketball.
Yeah, amen.
Keep
Amen.
them separated. Make sure they're not traveling together, and all this other stuff.
It is pretty
Because
crazy, that private school system stuff. Like, yeah.
because you know what, my buddies and I used to have a saying when we were on the other team. Because out here on the res, we used to have to play against each other, and the rule was we're gonna compete like hell for the next 40 minutes on the court,
Mm.
and whatever happens, happens. And then we're gonna go back to mom's house, and we're gonna hang out, we're gonna have pop, and we're gonna chill out. And then I can already see in the comments now they'll be like, "Well, what's the difference, Mo?" And I said, "I'll tell you what the difference is. When me and my buddies are on the opposite end of the court, we're not friends. We're trying to win a ball game, and that's what it feels like sometimes. It's like, okay, I don't mean to pick on them, but I'm going to pick on Detroit.
Mm.
They're so bad, you just kind of root for them. It's kind of like that 35 and over team that loses by 40 points every night, and then they hit a shot, and you're like, oh, good for them, because you know you're going to win anyway.
Yeah. All the while knowing, yeah, they're gonna lose. It's just you're rooting, but knowing that there's no chance. They're gonna lose.
And that's what's happened to the NBA.
Ooh.
Is
It's death.
everybody's buddy. You know when you can
And
you know when you
man,
can
so
be
true.
you know when you can be buddies is when you're on the same team. Like with this
Yep.
podcast, you and I have different views on basketball all the time. But we understand that we're trying to build this thing. We're teammates.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
when you
right.
can be buddies.
Yeah, exactly. Like, here's a great example of media rivalry slash shots taken was Charles Barkley taking shots at JJ Redick for the length of the entire highlights. Did you see that there on? I
Yeah.
can't remember which breakdown it was, but he's fair game, and he just decided to take that moment to just be hilarious. And it's still, even in that was more entertaining than any NBA rivalry this season. Was him just calling him out by name and then just ripping on him.
Well, look at it this way. I'll take it another direction so that it doesn't seem like I'm bringing up Michael and or Magic and Larry. Look at the rivalry between the Lakers and the Kings that they used to have in the early 2000s and how bitter that used to be. And now the Lakers have beaten the Kings 4 times in a row this year, and
Yeah,
nobody said a word. Remember,
yeah.
there was a time when Shaq called them the Sacramento Queens at one point.
The Shaq is the definition of understanding the wrestling side of entertainment, or just the entertainment side of
And I'm
wrestling.
not.
Sorry.
And to be clear, I'm not saying that the NBA should become the WWE. I'm saying steal elements of it.
Hmm. Exactly. I think they're in danger of losing some of that playfulness, the stuff that makes us really excited, even though we know in our hearts it's silly, it's a game, da, da, da. But if you lose what makes it really playful, like the stakes have to be playfully high, and they're losing
Two
that by
words for
trying to be
you:
so
Conor
perfect.
McGregor.
It's like,
Conor McGregor might be the greatest UFC heel of all time.
shout out. He's welcome to come on anytime too.
Oh yeah, I got. You know what? I want to talk to you, Connor. Actually, if you want to come on the podcast, that's
We're just
fine.
getting a lot of calls, yeah.
But I'm saying, like, you need people to hate, because when Connor's on a pay per view, I'm like, oh, I don't like this guy, but I want to see him get beat. Click, there's my $75.
Oh man, exactly. Or you get a George St. Pierre who for a lot of people at the time, he was the hero, right? Like, so when he became the hero, man, he really wore that hero with the broken sword, like nothing can defeat him type of narrative that's also comic book / wrestling worthy. But it worked because there was always a nemesis coming to kill
There
him.
was always a nemesis.
Yeah.
And if you think that's not how it works, look at Muhammad Ali and Smoking Joe Frazier.
That is it, right? So you would say AAU kaputs. We're just going old school public system. If you got a fancy private school, keep it to yourself. Make it a state tourney or something like that.
Yeah. No AAU basketball.
No cross state ball.
No cross state tournaments.
No podcasts. You can't
Because
start a podcast or
because remember how it used to be when they used to say, "Oh, he's the number one player in the state." Remember
exactly.
this?
Yeah,
Now,
no, exactly.
now it's like, oh, these guys have known each other since they were 13. How am I
Yeah,
supposed to
they're
dislike you if
family.
I've known you for over half my life?
Yeah. And they have very similar goals, which is, yeah, let's just get money and continue to do what we're doing. But it's not, let's, try to beat each other or prove something. They got no
One more
interest in
example,
that.
and this is a basketball one, so they don't have to have any wrestling knowledge. Kobe Bryant, the '08 Redeem team, playing Spain, first play of the game, runs through Pau Gasol, and his team was like, "Whoa, shit!"
Mm-hmm. So he's
Like
somebody that played both roles. Yeah.
Kobe was like, "I don't care if I'm the villain. I'm here to win."
Mm-hmm. John Moran had some potential. Still does.
Still, I so badly want John to be successful. You know, oh, and I don't mean to get emotional about this, but people think I just like John Morant because of the things I say about him on this podcast. The truth of it is, and G would know this better than anybody else, I'm the kid's biggest supporter. I want this kid so badly to do so well that it drives me nuts every time he gets in trouble because I'm like, dude, you are. Do you know how many people on this planet would kill to have the talent you have?
Also, his attitude and personality are amazing outside of um, not being able to manage it on the other side of life. You know, because like he's what we're saying. He's a perfect energy for entertainment value. He talks that talk and he walks that walk, and that those are the essential qualities of the villain, right? They have to be
You,
dangerous, right?
you,
He
you
he
know who
might
else is a
end
good
your
villain?
life through a dunk, right? Like he's dangerous.
Lou Williams was a good villain.
Sweet Lou, sweet
Lemon
Lou.
Pepper Lou.
It's because he's the one you don't expect to get you. He's yeah, he's a quiet but lethal villain.
And that's the one thing. Like when you have a villain, it's so much easier to operate as a sports league. I know people don't want to hear that. I know
It's
people don't want
true.
to hear that, but it's the truth.
And we're going to find it anyways, right? So I think the problem is that we've now replaced that villain role for because I think we need it no matter what, just how we look at things. We use the refs, right? They become the scapegoat for all this pent up.
Because we don't have any players to put it towards.
Exactly. So people want to fucking murder referees and shit and like make this up. NBA is all fake. It's like you're scapegoating the referees, and they've been put in the position where that is the sort of last man standing of like, well, who else are you going to be mad at? Everybody else is just doing their best.
Because they're all friends.
That's it. It became very, very like sterile. Like everything is perfect
Like
and technical foul if
I'll
you
give you
clap
another
your hands.
basketball example.
Yeah.
In the past, you'd never see Michael pick up Magic or Magic pick up Larry. You'd never see it. Never
Unless it
see
was a
it.
showdown.
You'd never see an opposing player pick up another player to his feet.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like the lift help somebody up thing. No,
Yeah.
I don't like that either. It's like, man, we know you guys are good guys. You don't have to ruin the competition with this. Like, oh, just making sure you're all right there, brother.
You know,
When did it become the PGA Tour? Right?
I don't know, but I can't wait for Happy Gilmore too.
That's it. They need a little bit more of that. And so let's nominate some up and coming goons that if they really try hard, they can do it. Dylan Brooks
You know
is
who would
the
have been a
young
great
star for
villain
me.
if he wound up on a better team? You know who would have been a great
Who's
villain?
that?
Grayson Allen.
Buddy, I think he's still a pretty good villain.
No, but I just wish he was around on a better team that was getting coverage.
Actually, that was maybe one of my first real interesting thoughts. I felt like at the beginning of the season was like, there's nobody that's going to get wasted more than Grayson Allen this year because he is deadly behind the arc and he's the fourth in line of the most high volume shooters of all time. He's going to see nothing, and he's the best percentage shooter on the team. What a waste.
Exactly.
Yeah, so great pick though, man. That's a perfect. Still, he could be one day a great villain. I haven't lost hope. He's still got it. His name's Trip Allen.
But I'll tell you, I'll give you one more. JJ Redick is becoming a villain because we don't have anybody else to put the blame on, so we put it on JJ.
Yeah, and he can be pretty smarmy or whatever that word is, where it's like he thinks he knows best here, and I don't know if he does. Yeah, I don't know.
See, here's the thing: people tell me to be excited because the Lakers are above the cut line, which is they're playing even my expectations. So people will tell me to be excited, but you know what? I'll tell them. Of our last 6 wins, 4 of them were against Sacramento.
Yeah.
And this one's going to be against the Atlanta Hawks. So 5 out of the 6 have not come against great competition.
What do you think about Butler on the Lakers?
Ooh.
Did I just blow the internet up with that? How has nobody done that take yet?
I'll tell you something. I don't think he fits.
Too much dog in one room?
I think so. Because I think what's happening in LA and why we're overachieving, if I have to put it that way, is because Anthony Davis finally decided I'm that dog, and everybody better get up out of my way.
He did the Jalen Williams tonight thing for the whole season, where he's just like, pretty sure I can just throw this down on you.
Like,
anytime.
I'm just going to throw this down, and everybody's got to get out of my way.
Like he's just beating them up like he's playing on a small hoop, and they're a lot smaller than him.
What's the thing I always say about the Lakers? I say they're going to be a play-in team, but I hope I'd love to be wrong. And I think if we get there, if we get that number 6 seed, Anthony Davis will be a huge part of that.
Man, yeah, I could see that. I don't know if they need to add somebody though. Would you add a Levine? Would you add a certain something?
I don't know. I feel better now with Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton because Dorian Finney-Smith is that long defender that the Lakers have been missing since Caldwell Pope left a couple of years ago when he went to Denver.
That's true. He's kept his name clean in the sense that he's always been regarded as a great role player like OG or one of those dudes.
And don't sleep on Shake Milton either. He's not going to be consistent, but he can have nights where he gives you 15 to 20 points. And the Lakers are going to need that coming down the stretch.
Yeah, that makes sense. Boy, yeah. Yeah, and it's the $50 million price tag that gets people. I don't think that's possible for most. Yeah.
No, but I think the Lakers got much better with Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton when you look at them losing D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, tough break for him getting injured in his first game in Brooklyn there. All jokes aside on him, that's a bummer for any player. So
I don't want to hear that. I didn't hear about that, but get well soon, D-Lo.
Yep. And man, just on the note of villains, he's not a bad one either. He's not a bad one.
My problem is with D-Lo.
He's the Jordan Poole syndrome, though. He's not a serious villain.
I don't mean to pile on D-Lo here, but you know what my problem is with D-Lo? Every time I watch D-Lo play, I don't pay attention to his stat line because a lot of the times when I was watching D-Lo play, and you know how much I watch the Lakers, I watch him even when we're doing the podcast. He coasts a lot, and that's my problem with D-Lo. Is he coasts his way through the NBA?
Yeah, but that's almost it's not a good version of villain. It's sort of like a very frustrating, like just a grievance sort of villain.
He's the kind of guy when he's on your team, you're like, oh no.
Who's the bad guy in the Avengers? Excuse my knowledge on that. No, like the big one.
Oh, what's his name? Big purple dude, Thanos.
Yeah. Well, now I've lost the analogy, but respect to Thanos.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Like, when people say, Simo, you're wrong, the Lakers aren't a lottery team because they're above the lottery or the play-in line right now, I said, I've been saying it all year, I hope I'm wrong. Like,
it's unpredictable at this point. I'll give you that. If I were to pull up the standings.
That's what people don't understand is I always hope I'm wrong when I make these predictions. I don't want to see the Pistons and the Hornets at the bottom of the league for the next 20 years. I really don't.
Hey, what was the key to the game here for the Lakers winning?
I'm going to say it was a collective effort tonight.
Oh, impressive.
Because remember, Connect was 3 for 3 from three-point land. LeBron had 10 and 5 last I saw. Hachimura's having himself a game,
That's it. If you can hit open shots, this team is not so bad. Because there will be open shots when you've got LeBron and AD on your team.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I hope I'm wrong. Because LeBron could use the 2 days off.
So all things. Go ahead.
And Anthony Davis is proving me right here. 18 points, 19 rebounds, and 4 assists tonight for AD.
Big dog numbers.
So that's what I'm saying. He's taken this and said, LeBron, you're now number 2.
That's what he's been waiting for, I guess, right? Is like, let's see what AD can do when he decides he's in charge. And it's probably the quieter of.
Remember when I said team effort? I'm just gonna read these off to you. James 30, Hachimura 13, Davis 18, Reeves 20, and even Max Christie has 9, and Dorian Finney-Smith has 8, and Connect has 11. So it really has been a community effort tonight for the Lakers.
And that's how it's getting done these days. I see that model more and more working than the reliance on 1 or 2 stars. But when you got 2 of the best stars, boy, and you build a committee, you might have a contender. Cleveland looks like that. Lakers, perhaps. Boston, for sure.
I'm a little. I've been watching.
I heard is on the market.
I've watched 2 or 3 Cleveland Cavaliers games because you criticized me there a while back.
And that one, I don't know.
And I'm going to tell you this. They won all three of those games, but they are beatable because I saw their 3-point shooting, and I was like, dude, how are you guys 24-5?
I would take a healthy Philadelphia, a healthy Milwaukee, and Atlanta over them.
That's why I said they'd be a
Yeah,
second round out because I think there's teams better than them in the Eastern Conference.
I'm seeing it now. You're not wrong.
And I'm just saying, I wish Cleveland the best because they've been a team that when LeBron's not there, they struggle a lot
They're the OKC
of the
the
East.
East right now because the OKC is looking as tough as nails, but they still have to show that when it counts the most. They still have to get past where Embiid's gotten stuck for his entire career, right? Like there's
There's
still
regular
another.
season mode and there's playoff mode, brother.
Yeah, man. And boy, did you see Steph's threes last night? The 8 for 8. I mean, almost due to the week, just for the love of the spirit of basketball in that, and just how. Oh, shout out to Latrell Sprewell too for holding the record with 9. I think I remember that actual game watching as a kid, him drain 9 threes, 9 for 9, man. Latrell Sprewell, talk about
Latrell
basketball V
Sprewell.
villain. Come on.
See, and then with the villain though, you need the good guy like Tim Duncan, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't have one
Exact.
without the other.
Draymond, Steph. Exactly.
But
We
they're on
see
the same team.
it works there. It works there as a complementary piece, I think, right? You could have them on opposing as like a effective formula. As far as narrative media stuff goes, yeah, you want them on opposing teams. But it's a
You know
powerful
what?
combination. Yeah.
You know what gives me more faith in the Lakers than anything else? Was LeBron took the night off against Sacramento the other night and the Lakers still won. Because there were nights in the last couple of years where if LeBron didn't play, you just chalked up an L.
Exactly. It was similar for a few different teams that are now showing that that could be the past, right? Orlando lost their star, kept winning. That
By
was
the way, can
impressive.
I ask a question, a different basketball question?
Mm.
What happened to the Sacramento Kings? They running back pretty much the same team they had last year, and they were first in the Western Conference, and now they're fighting for their lives in the Western Conference. I don't understand what happened to that franchise.
Well, in good news, they did just beat the Memphis Grizzlies
Well, hurrah for
tonight,
them.
which Memphis is 23-12. That's crazy. That's a
No
quiet.
John Morant.
That's crazy. Um, so the Kings, I think I can sum it up for you real quick, man. They tried to do it in like build a team that was built for a different league. I think the league changed again on them as they were building something that was an older model. That, man, if you don't shoot the three at such a high clip, it's over. Like you don't have enough weapons, and I don't know if they've got that model working yet. And they've got some expensive old players with an expensive star in the middle that's more of a slasher rather than a 3 point. He's more facilitator. So I think they just have an awkward
Yeah.
mix, and it's now really
Annette
showing
13,
itself.
Hachimura 13, Davis 18, Reeves 20, and LeBron 30. Holy smoke, they spread it
I'm,
out tonight.
I'm going to blow your mind here, man. Sacramento Kings are facing the exact same problem that the Toronto Raptors were when they had Pascal, OG, Fred, and Norm
Last year
uh,
or
2
2
years
years ago.
ago, right? Where it's like we've got pieces, but there's zero reasons why this team shouldn't be kicking the door at 6 at minimum, and we're sitting there at 11, and it was like, all right, wrap this up, Messiah. This is not working. And he doubled down again. No, we'll see how they do next year. Whatever that was, that's how Sacramento looks to me right now. Quality pieces. Quality coach gets fired. It's just a badly run organization, and what's his name? Malone called it out, right? With the press
I was.
conference.
I'm gonna ask you about that right now,
Dude of the week.
Mr.
Michael Malone.
Malone.
And
Uh,
yep.
what do you think about it? What do you think about him sticking up for the coaching fraternity of the NBA? Do you like that? Is it a solid move, or what is that?
He is what is like, he is a great example of his one-liners and his little snap quotes and stuff like that is pure entertainment because it's coming from a real place, but he knows how to dress it up and present it in a way that's like, I'm going to let it have impact because that's just how I roll. So when he's pulling from the hip, you know it's going to be good, and that was as good as anything, man. He meant it, and you're going to tell me that's not true? Anything he said there, right? It's like nobody can tell you what he said there didn't come out as fucking
No, and
true,
that's the thing.
right?
You gotta have that little, even if it's just a little nugget of truth. You gotta have the little bit of truth in there.
Mm-hmm. He was the Han Solo on that, man. He was like, all right, yeah, I'll tell you how it is. You want to know?
Like, here's the deal, and I'm gonna go back to the NFL for this analogy.
Mm.
The Kansas City Chiefs have just looked unbeatable the last few years until this year. Now we have drama going into the playoffs next week.
Mm-hmm.
And now
Big
the
time.
NFL is going to skyrocket their ratings. And I think the difference is that's natural, organic excitement.
It's like they
Whereas,
planted good seeds in good dirt.
yes, and I'm going to bring this back to the NBA because this goes back to my play-in argument that I've had
Mm.
since it all started. By the way, still haven't watched the play-in game. Not going to do it. Can't do
We're
it.
gonna get them there, folks. We're gonna get them if it's the last thing we do. If Winston
Won't do it.
Churchill said one thing,
Won't do it. But the difference is with the play-in. Yes, there's drama, but it seems like it's manufactured drama.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, and
because
again,
of
the
that,
refs get the brunt of it.
and because of that, like when you have the eighth place team playing the ninth place team that's 6 games behind you, you have guys like me going, well, if it was 1 or 2 games, that'd be fine, but 6 games and you only got to beat me once? Like, how does that make sense?
Yeah, and you could have the weak squad coming in that got hot one night. Gets the entertainment value is not being considered in that way.
No, and that's my problem with it, and that's why I won't watch. Even when the Lakers were in it, I didn't watch the games.
Yeah, it's a funky system that it seems like such a big change for very little reward, you know?
Oh yeah, and it's the same with the in-season tournament. Does anybody really care?
Here's what I would do is take out some of the breaks where it's just like why is there like a 5-day break or something with no basketball?
It's
You know,
because of that NBA Cup. That's why.
exactly. So it's like, how about we get rid of all back-to-backs, reduce it 10 games, no NBA Cup, and we just see how the product looks then, right? We've tried it your way. Now let's try it this way where we think that minimizing the just throwing it down your throat every night is not going to satisfy the customer. Let's try to preserve our product a bit, make its quality a bit better. Back to back should not exist. These guys are high level athletes. If they're going to play a team, it's got to be an equal playing field. You can't have them coming in from Sacramento into fucking New York the next night and expect a good game, an equal fair match from those teams. If the other team's coming off a day and a half rest at home,
Yeah, but the reason that back to
it's so
backs is
it's unnecessary. It brings up the injuries. It brings up or lowers the quality of the game, and it brings up the injuries. And it's arbitrary. And you can skewer the things so that you f certain teams more than others, depending
well
on how you place them. Right.
the thing is, G, it's not arbitrary. That does happen for a reason. It comes down to building availability.
But
Like
then
when the
reduce
Lakers
the games. Right.
when the Lakers were sharing the building with the little brother Clippers, who we knocked around in the basement for years.
But that's the
Yeah,
whole thing of the 80, like they have to fit in the 82. And it's like, yeah, there's restrictions on, but what if you didn't have to fill 82? Right? Then your restrictions are wider because you have a wider net to choose from. Right? You don't have to
you know,
fill 82 slots. You can relax a bit and make the players play quality games rather than trying to shove in 82 game seasons. I think it's unnecessary. The length could stay the same.
what would you
The
think about
quality could
this?
be better. Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna add to your 72 games and say instead of 48, let's drop it to 40 minutes. Let's take away 8 minutes. Let's take away 2 minutes from each quarter.
Ooh, that's too big of a change, I think, for all the history buffs that are collecting stats. It would be just too much.
I disagree. If we're talking about the health of the players, let's cut back the minutes. Let's cut back the games. Let's cut back the travel.
It's a reasonable, like logically a solution idea, but like the egos of guys that want to break records and da 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 da.
And that's
Oh,
why they won't get rid of the 82 games
it's that
because
and
they
yeah,
want the records and they want the money and
yeah,
they want the revenue. So
again,
as much as
quantity over quality. Yeah.
I set you up that one, G. I'm sorry I had to do it, brother. But
You know what? Here, this sums up maybe our whole conversation, man. The NBA is obsessed with stats and these meaningless records. The only Laker in his early 30s to have shot 3 times from that side of the court and make them all in one game. It's like, enough. That's not a storyline. That's not entertainment to me. Entertainment needs to be something else other than stats. So I think the NBA is just
you
at
know
the
what
mercy
entertainment
of
is?
its stats, and it's not entertaining. And if they obey the machine, and it's over. Yeah.
It's Kevin Durant versus Steph Curry. That's entertainment.
Ooh,
But
yeah,
but but you have to build a storyline around that. It
yeah.
can't just be the Phoenix Suns are coming into San Francisco.
hmm
It
And there has
has
to
to
be
be.
some disrespect that occurred, right? Like, look to the wrestling WWE for ways to make it exciting.
Well, yeah. I mean, Netflix paid $500 million a year for a
Yeah,
reason.
yeah. Like they're so obsessed with the advertising of just individual players' personas that it's not like they're building up fake news
But
about
you
them
know
when
what
they
else
could
is
be. It's like,
missing?
why not?
I'm gonna throw a different angle at you. You know what else is missing? When the WWE is going to Netflix, they have the big Raw on Netflix, January 6th, 2025. It's all over the place. You see it on TV, you see it on ads, whatever. When's the last time you saw an NBA commercial?
That's it. The cultural relevancy is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. It's like it's because
No,
nobody
no.
cares about stats. Yeah.
Seriously though. No, when was the last time ESPN properly promoted a game?
NBA Cup because it was paid for.
When was the last time the never mind that. I'll ask the real question here. When was the last time G sat down and said, I have to watch this game?
Uh, bad one to ask because we enjoy watching it so
No,
much.
no.
But
No, I mean like it's a 12 game night.
the one tonight, I was really excited to watch OKC versus the New York Knicks, and it lived up to the expectations for me. It was a super good game and came out with the outcome I liked. So that one, but it wasn't any like immense storylines happening. There was no crazy rivalry. And remember the quote that started happening? That's just the media trying to stir things up, right? When they'd be like, "Oh, is Devin Booker? What were you guys saying out there?" Like, You guys are just trying to stir it up. It's like, yeah, we're trying to sell a product, fool, and we're trying to get you paid. Is that a problem? Stir it up with us here, man. Like, no, we're
You
actually
know
good
what?
friends. We're
The more
godfathers
I
of
sit
each
back,
other's. It's
the
like,
more I sit back and think about this, the more I respect Kevin Durant because he plays
and
the villain
Embiid.
to a T.
Yeah, we can learn to appreciate our
The
villains here,
whole
Bill.
I'm just hooping thing is brilliant.
He's icy. Like Embiid is the troll, where Durant is like the kills you with one word sort of thing. Yeah.
But my whole point in saying that is like back in the day when NBC carried a game, it was like Michael's coming to Detroit to take on Dumars and the Pistons.
And what did Michael do every single night that he said gave him an edge? He took everything personally for while it was on the floor, and his problem was turning it off. But he made it a WWE level intensity for every game he played
Yeah,
because he knew you needed that motivation to make it
but
potent. Yeah.
my whole thing is ESPN and NBC used to do a better job of promoting their product. I don't know what's happened in the years since.
They've tried to play it safe, right? They've done the same thing that a lot of the players. They got scared to be making mistakes, right? So they've gone down the middle, like, all right, we'll do a little Pat McAfee and Stephen A, but we're going to do then some really safe people down the middle, and then you know what I mean. They're trying to do it all, but it's
You
not
gotta pick a
working.
side, bro. You
Yeah,
gotta pick a side.
yeah,
I mean,
and they're trying so hard, but it's not working. They got to
I
pick
mean, you
some. Yeah.
look at me on the podcast. How many takes have I made where geez, kind of like, oh, that's a spicy take.
Hmm.
But you notice I stand on my takes too. I don't sit there and go, well, this might happen. When I said the Cavaliers would be a second round out, I stick by that, and
That's
people will be like,
conversation worthy.
huh?
That's conversation worthy type of thing. Yeah, man.
But you see, you have to be willing. You have to be willing to be wrong in order to make compelling content.
Yeah. Right down the line of something that's
Ima-
missing right now, and I don't know what it is, but
Imagine if I just came into the podcast and said, "Well, the Hornets just lost their 21st in a row. There's nothing really to talk about here. Let's just ignore them for the rest of the year." Right? That's not compelling anything.
and it's the back and forth with fans too. Think back to Reggie Miller jawing
With
the
Spike,
Knicks, spiking the Knicks fans. Like that is TV perfection. It's entertainment perfection, and it's real, and it's playful, sure, but it's real. Like F you to the people that are jawing him, and he stirred it up proper, man.
that's the thing. Like I said, they used to
Remember
promote these
Kyrie
bands.
stomped the leprechaun?
Hmm.
Those
Like
are the good
even
old
on
days.
Christmas Day, there was no heat in any of those games.
No, it's the Billionaire Friends Club, and they're in danger of losing the entertainment side of what they do. And Stephen A is a guy that's all about the entertainment and athletic side, probably more entertainment side. But at least he sort of has always understood that fundamental truth. Like it keeps people paid. At the end of the day, if you do it right, it's the best. But if you don't do it at all, you're not going to get paid. And
Absolutely, and I'll give you a good example. Skip Bayless. Everybody's got an opinion on Skip Bayless.
mm-hmm, that's it.
Whether you love him or you hate him, everybody's got an opinion on Skip Bayless, and that's why Skip Bayless today is still relevant because everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah. And they're easy to identify with. Like there's a quick reason why you like or don't like certain things. Like, it's easy to sort of identify certain ones that are out there, like the shit disturbers or the uh, trolls that really make it happen. But it's just a huge gaping entertainment hole in the NBA today that who knows? Maybe we're onto something here, Mo. Maybe we got a little something. Write them a strongly worded suggestion letter.
Well, gee, that's about an hour and 20. You got anything else you want to spit? Well, we got
I think we could round it out with a couple formal dude of the weeks, and then
Oh,
did
are
we
we
have
going to do the
another?
Jimmy Butler thing that we did before we
Oh,
started the podcast?
yes, I think that would be really good. Yeah,
We have
let's
to
so
talk
that
about Jimmy Butler on a serious note here because last week I called G or I text G and I said, G, the Heat have come out and said they're not trading Jimmy Butler. And then I said, but that's like the GM coming out and telling the coach who still has his job, you know, he's about to get fired. and and
you're not far off.
and I said, well, and I've been saying all along, I've been picking spots for Jimmy buckets. I said OKC. I said maybe a little bit of Golden State, but I don't think that works quite as well. I think there are spots for Jimmy, but it's got to be under the right circumstance.
And $50 million is more than most can stand in
That's
this
true.
climate.
But we played a fun game and we're going to bring you some entertainment. And if you want to play along, give us your three spots. That would be the funniest for Jimmy Butler to wind up in the comment section below because we love fan interaction here. My first one, if I remember correctly, was the Charlotte Hornets, I believe. They were number.
Washington Wizards.
Oh, the Washington Wizards. That's right. Because I think it would be absolutely hilarious to see Jimmy say, I'll play anywhere but Miami, and then get shipped off to a 5-win Washington Wizards ball club. The second one was the Charlotte Hornets, if I remember correctly. Because then he'd have to deal with LaMelo Ball and his Prince syndrome in Charlotte, which I think would be hilarious
It'd be nonsense, big
to work
time.
with. And I had a third one, but I can't remember who I said it was.
It was a good one. It was
You know what? I just thought of a different one. Let's send Jimmy Buckets to the New Orleans Pelicans. That'd be hilarious.
I would almost bet you. Well, no, we'll be on the same side of the bet. So I think that's a valid one. I think that's a legitimate, funny, and realistic spot because they've got two guys they want to get rid of, if not three, right? So you can easily swap salaries on Zion or Ingram or even McCollum. Why not switch them up? Knicks, I thought would be an interesting spot for Jimmy Butler and hilarious with Tibbs there in their past.
I don't think he's going back to New York, but that'd be hilarious.
That's what was the other one? Had Dallas to try to see if a ball could exist in three places at once. That was a somewhat legitimate
Oh,
one.
you know what would be funny?
I'll hit it.
I just thought about this. Send him to the Clippers.
Ooh, that's a
That'd be
legitimate one.
hilarious.
That would be interesting, actually. That's a spot that he might fit. You know what I mean?
But I said it right from day one. I think Oklahoma City could tremendously benefit from Jimmy Butler.
I think the
In all
risk is just
seriousness.
too big when you've got Jalen Williams looking like he can still grow. And I hear you. I agree the toughness side. But when
No,
J Dub's
but
doing that thing, it's like,
he can mentor that. He's not going to be
but
around that
but let,
long.
but let me tell you, the attitude. Can I be honest with you, man? It was so sad to see a broken villain. Like all his swagger was gone. It was like his hair might as well have just been like, boom. It's like I just want to play basketball. It was like seeing the Joker just like suddenly just like actually just like, oh, I guess that's that. And it's like, oh my God, no, this is not a good look for you, man. I want to see you tough, chip on the shoulder, silent but deadly. He looks sad, man. And I don't know how much is left in his tank. And to be toxic to the point where you've had to do a public standoff with multiple teams now,
And he's been
multiple.
suspended for 7 games.
You're going to invite that into your team that's now on the upstroke as OKC. It's too big of a risk. And you would have to send $50 million in equal salary going out. And it's like, how do you find that on your team without sending it all?
I don't know. Let's get to the dudes of the week here. What do you got?
Yeah. I'm tempted to go with Michael Malone just based on his attitude through that, but I'm going to shake it up. Go with who's the most recent on my mind? Well, Steph is on my mind with that 8 for 8, but he's too boring of a pick.
I agree.
J-Dub, I haven't gone with, but he's a boring ass pick. If you've got one, hit it, because I'm struggling here for a moment, and I brought it up. But
You know who I like as a dude of the week who doesn't get as much love as he really should, and I don't think it's really fair that he doesn't, because he's really trying to put himself together. And I know it's going to be tough times without Luka for a month out there in Dallas. But Clay, I'm going to give you my dude of the week just for your perseverance and your willingness to not only adapt to a new situation, but try to play well in a new situation where it's very different personalities who want the ball, and there's only one to go around. So, Clay, you get my dude of the week based on that. You didn't see that coming, did you?
I did not, man. I did not. That's a nice shout out for somebody that has actually improved. And I was reading a little bit of Slam magazine. Shout out to the Slam readers. And the guy
Does
that
Slam
ran.
still exist?
I know it's wild. Every Christmas, it's a tradition I gotten in my stocking from my parents would be a Slam magazine. So I've got a stack of them from Christmas, December's, and on the cover was De'Aaron Fox. Funny enough. Yeah, it had a thing about one of the top workouts, and he said one of the guys that impressed him most was Clay. And he's like, man, that guy worked on his agility and stuff, and is trying to reclaim some of that like spark, and he's put in the work, and he was super impressed. And
I put a lot of thought into that dude of the week there. So
yeah, man, I can tell. I feel like I've got one on the tip, on the verge, but might have to give it to Michael Malone and walk out. Oh, who beat the Sixers on Christmas Day?
Who was that? No, the Sixers won on Christmas Day. They beat Boston.
Was it?
Yeah, the Sixers beat Boston on Christmas Day.
I thought Boston.
That was the only upset of the day, was Philly over Boston.
Oh, that's right. Oh man, yeah. And then they needed to lose a couple more. Man.
Also, to our Canadian television viewers, we can say goodbye to MTV Canada, which shut down on December 31st. Cable does not look like it's going to be here for much longer, the way things are going. MTV is gone, and so is BET, apparently. So, cable's going by the wayside. Amazon Prime's picking up the NBA, and Disney Plus has the global rights for ESPN. I didn't mean to take this in this direction, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on streaming versus TV. I saw this coming, but I didn't think it would come this quickly. The fact that these channels are shutting down so fast.
I think it's time where everybody's pretty much got it. Everybody can figure out how a streaming service works. Like the generational gap has been closed on the technology enough where it's not going to be such a huge shock to the system as it would have been if it happened 5 years ago.
I don't know. I got a brother who's 2 years younger than me, who's still technologically.
It's not going to be perfect, but it's definitely going to be less crazy than I think it would have been. Like I think more people are ready for it now. It'll still be weird, but when the full transition happens, I feel like it'll be almost unnoticeable because it'll still be so many different options, and all the live ones will be accessible and have some sort of.
All right, I just wanted to hear. I just wanted to hear you say that. The inevitable transition to straight streaming, G says, is coming. and
Mm.
unfortunately, I tend to agree with him. I just wanted to give a shout out to MTV Canada because I grew up watching MTV Canada. So
Oh, and shout out to Victor Wembanyama for playing chess in New York and getting with the people there and just playing it off the street and taking his business seriously. He put it 35 and 18 in a win over Denver, so he's my spontaneous dude of the week.
yeah, I was gonna mention that. Oh, I'll end on this one actually. Denver on the concernometer on a scale of 1 to 10. Where do you put Denver on the concernometer? 1 being not worried, 10 being extremely worried.
Let's put 10 as Jimmy Butler's energy today, which is like devastated, not worried, devastated, as you know
Yeah,
what already you already know what's coming. It's a
I
nine.
would say
It's a nine.
I'd put them at a 7.
Ooh, yeah. I'd go
Denver.
a couple higher. I think nine is it's emergency mode right now. It's Mayday. It's not showing yet, but I think it's Mayday.
Do you think Joker gets dealt?
Not ever. They just won't be able to deal him. And Murray's just not valued at that price anymore, so they have to trade Porter Jr. And even him, what are you going to get? Right? They've got chemistry built for 3 years with Porter Jr. You get a fiery guy that to replace at best with somebody that can do that. It's not a good situation they're in.
Well, I hope
And
you
Murray,
enjoyed
yeah.
this episode
No,
of At
we
the
gotta
Buzz.
we gotta end on a more positive note than that. Let's go.
Okay. Gee, I'll give you the floor. Where do you want to end it here?
All right, what are you most looking forward to in the next week of basketball here?
In the next week of basketball, I'm looking forward to, honestly, it's 2025. I'm on the new motivational kick. And I'm just looking forward to the first night I can sit back, relax, and watch a Raptor game and just be present in the moment.
Mm,
Because a lot of the time when I'm watching a ball game, my mind is going, "This, where does this put us in the standings? Where does this put us everywhere?" And I think with the new attitude I've taken, I've kind of relaxed a little bit, and I've been posting to the channel daily, but also I've learned to like kind of step back a little bit and not take the game as seriously as I normally might. I mean, my insights will still be there, obviously, but
mhm.
my day doesn't hang on every play that happens with the association, I guess,
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's a great way to look at it because I think that's flow. Sounds like fluidity.
because I think I put so much energy into the league that I'm just like, that's why my frustration comes in
Mm,
with the way things are happening.
yeah, yeah, that
Like
makes sense, man.
like when I hear the numbers are going down 53%, I'm just like, okay, I have to try and figure out a solution.
Mm.
But I'm one guy and I can't fix 47% of your ratings. you know.
If we did our job right, which I think we did, we just did it tonight. You're welcome, NBA.
Well, on that note, actually, when do the Raps play next? Is it tomorrow?
Yeah, yeah. Raptors are tough to look forward to, but um,
Oh
in the
no.
long.
Oh no, that's what I'll say. Tomorrow night, 5 o'clock, Denver Nuggets, San Antonio Spurs rematch. They're on a
Ooh,
back to back against each other. So I'm gonna sit back and relax, and I'm gonna enjoy that one tomorrow.
41 and 18 for Jokic tonight in a loss.
That's sad, brother.
Jamal Murray, 14 and 7.
That's sad. 41 and 18.
And
Ugh.
then for Murray, 14 points.
All right. Well,
Mm-mm.
until next time.
Thank you.
G ruined the positivity at the end of the podcast, but that's
No,
okay.
man, Murray did it to us. Murray did it to himself.
Until next time, may your ego come from a place that keeps you humble. I'm Mo Money. He's the bistro of basketball knowledge, G. And until we see you next time, Mamba out.